5 grisly stories are told through the panels of a young boy's comic book in one of the most beloved anthology horror films. Join an all-star cast for the spooky season, full of gore, zombies, and horrible people getting their comeuppance in the cult classic Creepshow.
Hello there, you loose units, and welcome back to another episode of Spicy Boy Halloween Reviews. I'm, of course, your host, Andrew Iles. That's right, it's the final Halloween movie review for 2024, and we're going to rewind the clock back to 1982. Creepshow, directed by horror legend George A. Romero, and the screenplay was written by Stephen King. We open the film on a masculine, abusive father, losing his shit over his young son's comic book obsession. He carries on like he found a stack of Bears and Twinks magazines under his son's bed. Young Billy loves the dark and macabre, especially in comic book form, but Daddy Atkins is having none of it! He sends Billy to his room where he meets the Creepshow skeletal mascot, who kicks off our short film fest. We got 5 stories to sink our teeth into. We kick off the film with a rich old fart patriarch who was murdered by his family on Father's Day 7 years prior. And he comes back as a Romero zombie to seek revenge on his family. And all he wants is his bloody Father's Day cake. However, the most terrifying thing in this segment is Ed Harris's dancing. We then cut to Hick Farmer King, who discovers a meteor that crashes down to Earth that turns him into a human terrarium. The third installment of this film, we see a sinister turn from Leslie Nielsen, who plans on killing his soon-to-be ex-wife and her new lover, Dr. Becker. However, the couple may have some spooky revenge of their own. The fourth short film in Creepshow, and easily the best one, is The Crate. An elderly janitor discovers an old crate that's chained up, locked away and hidden out of sight under a dirty old staircase and hasn't been opened since the 1800s for reasons. He tells his boss, who comes over to the lab and thinks it's a good idea to open the crate, which can only go well. Then they unleash a creature that is a Kardashian in its most natural form, which goes on a killing spree. The final segment is a cutthroat arsehole Wall Street banker who's a massive germaphobe and has a dislike of cockroaches in particular, and who would be totally overwhelmed and go absolutely insane if there happened to be an infestation. This film is an absolute cult classic. We get some cheesy comic book style transitions, some very obvious forced perspective shots, more Dutch angles than Batman 69 in a landslide. Every shot is lit up with vibrant red and blue gels, and oodles of practical gore puppetry makeup effects. To me, there is nothing more Halloween than a horror anthology film. This film obviously inspired Tales from the Crypt, and it's easy to see in what way. It also helped to inspire, if not all, other horror anthology films, which of course is its own genre. We ended up getting absolute cult classics like Trick or Treat, All Hallows Eve, Body Bags, and the VHS franchise is still going strong to this day. This film is an all-star cast with appearances by Hal Holbrook, Adrienne Barbeau, Leslie Nielsen, E.G. Marshall, Ed Harris, Ted Danson, Stephen King, Tom Atkins, and Tom Savini, just to name a few. This film had a budget of $8 million and ended up grossing over $21 million, so it's fair to say it was a bloody hit. Then 5 years later, in 1987, we got a sequel. Then a third installment in 2009, and a TV show in 2019, which is still running to this day. As aforementioned, there is no better way to spend Halloween night than with a horror anthology film. And why not start the evening with an absolute cult classic original? I have a fond memory of when I first saw this film. I stayed up late one night in the living room and watched it with my mother. We lived on a farm in the middle of nowhere, and our closest neighbours were about 10 acres away. My little brother and sister weren't home for the evening, they were staying out for the night, and my mum and I sat up late one night in the living room as this film came on, and we watched it, and scared the shit out of ourselves. But by today's standards, this film isn't very scary at all. It is incredibly cheesy and low budget. But if nothing else, it absolutely adds to the fun factor, and a perfect installment for the spooky season. And I actually do enjoy the second film, Creepshow, too. Right there. However, I've never seen the third installment Creepshow 3, but looking at the IMDb rating... However, I may give the TV show a go. And by the way, if you've seen the TV show of Creepshow, write down below if you recommend it. Anyway, guys, that's my final Halloween movie review for 2024. Creepshow, an absolute cult classic. Write down below if you've seen it, what are your thoughts on it, but more importantly, what is your favourite horror anthology film? And of course, if you made it this far into the episode, please give me a thumbs up because your love and support keeps me going, because I just love movies and I assume you do as well. And of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe icon because I give it an episode weekly. And I'll see you back here next week for the next review, but until then, stay spooky, kids.